In this video, we're going to talk about life cycle risk management. The objectives of this video are rather simple. At the end of it, you should be able to identify the stages of a project life cycle and identify the different types of risk that occur in a project's life cycle. If the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is indeed going to be a risk management agency, then they need a risk management model, and they need to manage risk throughout the project life cycle. Here is a simple depiction of a project's life cycle. Projects are born in the planning stage. Those that move on from there move on to the planning, engineering, and design, and from there to construction. Once a project is constructed, it could spend a relatively long time in the operations, maintenance, repair, replacement, and rehabilitation stage of its life cycle. And then for some projects, there is a final disposition. A project may be removed, it may be deauthorized, or it could be rehabilitated. There are different kinds of risks that arise throughout a project's life cycle. There are risks in the community. There are study risks, implementation risks, operation risks, and outcome risks. In the next several slides, we'll unpack each of these categories of risk. Risks in the community are the reasons that projects are begun. They would include flood risks, navigation risks, ecosystem risks, public health and public safety risks, such as those depicted by the pictures you see in this slide. These are the reasons for projects. And ultimately, if these risks are not successfully managed, then a project is not going to be effective. Risks in the community are not the only risks, however. There can be study risks, especially in the dawn of the 3x3 planning paradigm and the new smart planning. Study risks could include such things as making an analytical error, making decisions that result in study delays or cost increases, or in the worst case, a poor planning decision could be made. Implementation risks represent another category of risks. These could affect implementation schedule, cost, or construction of the project itself. Operation risks could affect the project's performance, and they may be the most serious risks. But there also could be impacts on the OMR, and R costs. And finally, we come full circle to outcome risks. If the project is not successful, then the outcome of the project will not address those community risks for which the project was originally constructed and conceived. Risk management cannot be a sometimes thing. The alternative to risk management is crisis management. So don't think of risk management as a tool or a technique that's practiced on special occasions. This is what you do day in and day out. You manage risks. Your risk management model, your risk management approaches, they have to apply vertically and horizontally throughout the entire U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. This would include all projects, all business lines, and all functions of the agency. Here are a couple of simple and undeniable facts about project life cycle risk management. That as we move from planning through the operation and maintenance and toward the final disposition, you have decreasing uncertainty, but you also have increasing cumulative costs. Different risks can emerge in different stages of the project life cycle. Take a look at this slide here, for example. In the planning stage, your greatest concerns are going to be about risks in the community, which is why you undertake the plan. Study risks and implementation risks that would arise because of smart planning, 3x3 planning, or other activities undertaken during the planning stage. In the PED stage of the project's life cycle, you would continue to be concerned about risks in the community, study risks, implementation risks, but you're also going to begin to become concerned about operational risks and outcome risks as additional engineering design is added to the project. During construction, risks in the community, implementation risks, and operation risks are going to be preeminent. There will be less concern about study risks once construction begins. During the operation and maintenance stage, risks in the community, operation risks, and outcome risks will be of greatest concern. And then during final disposition, risks in the community and outcome risks will be of greatest concern. Here is a contrived example to illustrate the different risks throughout a project's life cycle. Notice that flood risks and ecosystem services gains are the community risk or the outcome risks that would be of concern throughout the entire project life cycle. During the planning stage, the use of parametric cost to screen plans may be a risk. During PED and construction, assumptions about favorable weather conditions for construction could represent a risk. Levee overtopping would be a risk of greatest concern during the operation and maintenance of the project. There could be events like an extreme storm event during the operation and maintenance stage of a project, or piping could develop. Perhaps the locals can't afford to maintain the project. All of these risks would be included in the risk register, although they would all be included at different stages. So here are a couple things you might notice about the risk during a project life cycle. Risk can arise in any stage of the project's life. Some of them may depend on risk choices that were made in previous stages of the project's life. Some risks can be resolved within the same stage. Others extend to one or more or even all of the stages of the project's life cycle. Because different risks can arise at different stages of a project's life cycle, and because they can extend over several stages of a project's life cycle, this is going to make the project's risk register the risk manager's most effective tool for managing risks throughout the project life cycle. The most important point is ultimately very simple. Risk is everywhere. So you have to look and see, do you have a process, and do you use your process? Our takeaway points are two. Risk management is to be applied throughout the project life cycle. Second, life cycle risks vary.